Charlie, you're alive.
And
That's got to
kicking.
feel good.
And kicking. It feels great.
How have you found the public generally since the story of you having HIV came out and all the scandal that unfurled because of it?
I thought people would, we always write the story that's not true. And I'm about 100% when writing the story that doesn't happen ever. And I thought there'd be, rejected handshakes or, no, people are hugging and compassionate and supportive and awesome, and they'll pull me aside and thank me for helping their brother or their mother or their father or sister, that I told a story they didn't have the courage to tell themselves, and now they feel like they're not alone, and that's like you can't put a price tag on that,
See, I'm actually 5 months older than you. And yet there'll be arguers watching this going, really? And I feel bad about that because I'm like, you have no right to look as good as you do.
You're so sweet. You're so sweet.
You don't.
But you gotta give yourself a little more credit.
I'm never shy and giving myself credit.
Handsome man, and
you look in great shape.
Oh, thank you. I'm a little jet lagged on this trip.
But how are you feeling health-wise?
I feel really good. I don't do a bunch of drugs anymore. I drink a little bit, but I'm more of a sipper than a chugger. And I just, I got this opportunity now to do something, I guess, very heroic. But again, I do want people to talk about my work again in the future. But if my lot right now is to lead this charge, that's okay. Someone has to.
Right.
Someone has to.
And it's actually very powerful and important if it's somebody with your profile.
Thank you.
Tell me this, the moment that you heard in 2011,
right,
5 years ago now, that you were HIV positive, for anybody, that is a pretty cataclysmic moment in my life.
It's horrible. It's horrible. Because the first thing you think about is like, how did it happen? Where did it happen? And you start going back through your mind, like, who was involved? What was the thing? And most people that are positive can't they can't pinpoint that exact moment. They can't do it. And I'm one of them. I thought I was dying when I went to the hospital, and then the spinal tap and the thing, and then it was revealed. And then, it was kind of like, it was a quiet moment. It was like, I had to just sit with it for a second. Looked over at Mom, and she was like, you've gotten through harder times. I'm like, are you sure? But no, but then a lot of people do go to the hospital and don't come home. And I got to come home and have a great life today. And it's the technology and the medicine is amazing.
In a strange way, do you feel lucky? Did it put the brakes on a certain lifestyle that you were leading, which perhaps would have ended in a far worse way than this?
Yeah. I feel very lucky. I have a ton of gratitude that I can still tell the rest of the story, and it not be told for me or about me.
There have been so many stories about you, Charlie, in the parting years and since this revelation came out. A lot of it very negative. A lot of people saying you were very irresponsible, you were wildly promiscuous, you took loads of drugs, drank yourself into nearly an early grave, and so on. When you look back on your own behavior, your own life then, how self-critical are you?
Very. The question I can't answer to myself, my younger self, my current self, my future self. When I say, dude, what were you trying to prove? And I don't have an answer for that. Oftentimes though, when you become the main character in your own story, which is your life lived out, publicly, there's almost this bizarre sense of pressure to perpetuate that mythology, because at some point you start reading stuff about yourself and it's mythical. You're like, wait a minute, I couldn't have survived all that. And the stuff that I did and I'm regretful about, I own. It doesn't mean I'm proud of it.
Do you feel guilty towards some of the women that got caught up in this?
There, yes and no. The ones that still have my back are were never there for the wrong reasons. The ones that were there to for their own gain, their own folly. They're not a part of my journey anymore. And that's they wanted to trade my allegiance, my friendship. For that, I hope they feel like they got their money's worth.
You said in a newspaper interview here that you'd only had unprotected sex a couple of times, and it was met with a lot of incredulity. People just didn't believe that.
Right.
Was that an honest?
It was 100% honest. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. And but then it's like those couple times that I didn't. That who knows is that the moment that the thing happened? I don't know. But it's what people need to focus on and need to understand as absolute truth is that no one, I've infected no one. There's no one coming at me saying, well, now, no, it's not, this just has not happened. Regardless of what they say, I for years create fiction for a living. So I recognize it when it shows up,
Your father, great man, Martin Sheen, I've interviewed him several times. Loves you dearly.
Likewise.
Very caring.
Likewise, yeah.
He's your hero.
Yeah.
How did he react to this? Because he's used to your scrapes, and he had a few himself when he was young. But to hear that his son, that he loves, is HIV positive, must have been a big moment for him.
We got into a debate one night, and he was talking about AA and all this other stuff, and he kept talking about the disease of alcoholism, and I hadn't told him yet. I said, hey, Pop, you want to hear about a real frickin' disease? And that's when I told him.
Wow.
And he's never brought up AA again.
How did he react when you told him?
He was so... you could hear the universe just blink. You could hear everything pause. And he just said, oh, wow. Geez, kid. Whatever you need from me, he says, I'll jump on my fastest horse. That's what he said. I'll jump on my fastest horse. I was like, cool.
Was he remotely critical? Was he judgmental of you in that
No, he was nothing but supportive. And it's funny, I hang out at my parents' house and we're really close these days. And I can always tell there's something in the air they want to talk about, but they don't. I don't know what's going on. And it's usually as I'm leaving. All right, got to go pick up the girls in the morning or go do this and go do that. And like, so Charlie, and I know it's coming, right? But that he was very respectful and very we're dear friends, and it's really cherish our relationship. It's he kind of wanted to ask those next 5 questions. Well, how, who, what, where, what, but he didn't. And he just said, this is your journey, and again, it's whatever support he can deliver personally, or if he knows a guy, he's there for it. It's pretty cool.
You lived with this knowledge for a few years.
I did, yeah.
And you were paying people to keep quiet. It was all getting out of control, and you could feel an overwhelming inevitability.
Yeah, it was horrible, yeah.
And you decided to go public. That moment for you, when you went public, what was that like?
It was liberating in the moment. And I thought it would completely curtail and shut down all of the skullduggery and tomfoolery. And it actually, it accelerated it. It was like I dumped gas on the fire. So we got through that, but I just kind of walked away from it and I went, oh geez, this is incredible because I don't have to, like every knock on the door. The other shoe is not going to fall suddenly. It just made everything okay again, and I was fine with it. And I've dealt with whatever repercussions or responsibilities to the best of my ability. You can't give someone a workbook. You can't say, okay, if you say this is going to happen, there's no. It is so spontaneous and random that you just kind of have to find the next stepping stone through each moment.
You had this phrase before we knew about all this, dying is for amateurs. It's obviously a jokey phrase. But you had to face your own mortality with all this.
Yeah.
When you did that, what did you decide to do about the way you viewed life?
Just take a moment. I had to take pause. I had to just sort of take some inventory and really reflect on, how much of this will I allow to be a curse, or a blessing, or both, or there's this weird thing. I always know that I'm going to be okay. It's others I worry about. You know what I mean? My loved ones, my children, and so how can I serve them? I'm always like at the end of the list with the people that I'm concerned about.
Right.
You know?
Your kids? You've got 5 children.
Yeah.
Are they the people that you feel most regretful about in terms of guilt?
Yes. Yes. However, I really kind of look to what's going on right now, and I can't change it, and I can't undo things that had and have affected them.
You can be a much better father.
I can do it from this day forward, 100%. Yeah.
How do you think you've changed as a dad?
How do I think I've changed as a dad?
Yeah.
Just in my availability and the condition I show up in. And there's a new thing it dawned on me. I should have learned this 1,000 years ago. That the morning belongs to the night before. Right? The morning belongs to the night before. So, I may want to hang out with some buddies or like watch a movie at 3 a.m, but then if I'm going to get up at 5, pick my kids up and deliver them safely to school through canyons and everything else, they deserve the version of me that ensures that, and that's fine. It's fine. It's exciting.
I haven't seen you look this well.
Oh, you're very kind. I'm a little tired. I apologize.
Right, but it is ironic that you look so well and you seem so well, given that you've been facing such a massive health crisis.
Thank you. You're very kind. It's re-energized me. I don't know how else to describe it. I'm blessed. I have this great, big, crazy, awesome life.
Do you feel like you've got not a second child? You've had about 1,000.
Yeah.
Do you feel like it's a second chapter?
It is.
In the life of Charlie Sheen.
It is. Yeah. I'm going to spend the next 40 or 50 years, whatever, unlearning everything I thought I knew, and that's okay. It's about being human.
Have you liked being in the UK? You haven't been.
It's incredible. It's incredible. It feels like we've been here for either an hour or a month. No, the reception has been nothing but lovely. Has been. It's nothing but love and compassion.
In the middle of your trip, obviously we had this appalling shooting of a member of Parliament here.
Yeah.
You heard about this on the radio, I think.
I did.
What was your reaction when you heard that?
I was saddened, and I didn't really care about the whole thing about in or out, in the EU or out. That's the whole debate, right? And I just looked at this woman, and then it's very bizarre, because the reports that where she was in critical condition and hanging on by a thread and this, and then I said, wait a minute, she got shot and stabbed and dealing with a head injury and a heart. I turned to Coop and I said, she's not going to make it. She's not going to make it. And then I saw the news story breaking news, that Joe Cox had died. And I thought, so we're driving to the next venue, and I'm trying to care about things that I don't suddenly care about. They're not important. We cracked the sunroof, and the sky cried for a minute for her. And it was just like, it was a trip. And then I would love someone that is a proponent of owning, weapons and Second Amendment, all that crap, to look her children in the eyes and say, yes, it's okay. It's you should agree with everything that's happened. You can't do that to a child, because the mom leaves and then doesn't come home one day. Why? How do you explain that to a child?
Well, there were 3 stories in the space of a week. There was a young female singer who was on The Voice in America, who was shot, executed
during a meet and greet
by some crazed fan. We then had this appalling mass shooting
in Orlando,
at the gay nightclub. Joe Cox here. Obviously, we don't have
how much
the same
more
gun problem here, but
evidence do we need?
Right, guns. What is your view of guns?
They belong on a battlefield, and if you got to hunt to keep the animal population, however all that shit works, that's fine. I won't hunt an animal until it carries a weapon. It doesn't seem fair. It's as I said out there, our president said, to do nothing is a decision in itself. I'm just thinking, you can't speak to the families of the victims. You can't present an argument for it because it's wrong. And if I get shot tonight for saying that, oh well, you know?
What is the future for you career-wise? I mean,
I have a film coming out
right.
in September. It's a 9/11 film. We don't have a title yet. It's probably going to be either The North Tower or Tower 1. It's a true story on 9/11, the first 9/11 story from the inside, and it's about 5 people in an elevator on the day, and it's intense.
Are you enjoying getting back to work?
Loving it.
Would you like us to all stop talking about you, your sex life, your partying, and go back to talking about Charlie Sheen, the actor?
They're still talking. They're still talking. It's fine. I don't, people I think are, they're happy when I show up and they're sad when I leave. That's a pretty cool combination. You know what I mean? That's pretty cool. But they will talk about my work again. And everything all the bits and bobs that come along with it. You know what I mean?
Charlie, it's great to see you.
It's a pleasure.
And thanks for your time tonight.
Always. Thank you.